So just starting with this chart from the National Diet and Nutrition Survey and thinking about what's called discretionary salt, which is the salt that perhaps people add to meals, then the other 82%, because that's only 18%, is coming from food. Now, some foods naturally have sodium present in them, like, for example, some fish, of course, because they come from the sea, and things like licorice. But the salt in processed food that comes in through the diet is about 61% of what we might consume. And it's looking at today at another effect of consuming that. Now, normally you have potassium being inside the cells. Potassium is your main intracellular positive ion. It carries a positive charge because it's an electrolyte mineral. And sodium is your main extracellular positive ion. It sits outside of the cell. Now, the potassium is amazing because of the role it plays inside your cells, in that what it does is it helps structure water inside your cells and layer it up almost, because it helps configure the protein in your cells. The protein has a place for the potassium to latch onto, and because of that, our cells are able to hold this beautiful structure inside. All of their tiny little organelles, the organs inside your cells, are able to function properly, and the cells are alkaline and enjoying a state of health. Now, what happens, and this, of course, I've got a picture of veg and fruit there, is when we're consuming plenty of potassium-rich foods. Now, on the other hand, if our potassium intake is low, because our intake of veg and fruit is low, but our uptake of sodium-rich foods like salty snacks, breads, biscuits, cakes, sausages, hams, smoked foods, takeaways, all of those kind of things, what happens is that then we've got a lot of sodium coming in the diet, and when the sodium is sitting outside of the cells, sodium is something that will pull water towards itself. So if we've eaten something very salty, we might even feel like, we get a bit of a food baby, because it starts to make particularly the area around the digestive system swell. But over the years, if we continue with a very high level of sodium coming in and a very low intake of potassium, then our extracellular fluids will actually become quite high in sodium. And I don't know if you've ever seen sodium used to perhaps put on a saucer in a room to absorb some of the moisture, and it will start to look like a little puddle of salty water, or the salt will start to encrust itself around the dish instead of just sitting there as little salt crystals, because that sodium attracts water to itself. And because of that, our cells around, our fluids around our cells starts to swell. It starts to steal water from our cells, and the cells can start to dehydrate and shrink. But at the same time, other fluid spaces in our body are swelling, and that is a really uncomfortable position, which needs some careful management. And of course, it's one of those things, is oedema, as in the swelling that can occur around ankles and in the legs and so on, and in other parts of the body, that will accompany hypertension, which can again be contributed to by a high intake of sodium. So if these are any issues that you'd like to address, then please do get in touch, and I'll get back to you.